When we try to trace the history of culture and artistic practices, one of the first resources we usually turn to is literary works, poems, manuscripts, novels, and other written documents. These texts give us valuable clues about the society, the people, and the cultural practices of a particular period. But in performance studies, literature is never an ultimate source to understand performance patterns, but they tell us how certain art forms were viewed, treated, and accepted or rejected by the society. When it comes to Mohiniyattam, one of the earliest mentions of the term Mohiniyattam in the literary works is by the 18th century Malayalam poet Mahakavi Kunchan Nambiar, a prominent figure in Kerala's literary and performance history. Nambiar himself was a percussionist, a hereditary practitioner of the instrument called Miravu, the primary percussion used in the Sanskrit theatre Kudiyattam. In his poem Ghoshayatra, Nambiar writes, Nadaka Nadanam Narma Vinodam, Padaka Padanam Pavakkuthum, Madani Mulamar Mohiniyattam Padava Merina Palapala Melam. Here he presents a list of various forms of entertainment organized in the village. Nadagam, the drama, Padagam, a kind of verbal theatre, Pavakkuthu, puppetry, and Mohiniyattam, performed by women. In another work of Nambiar, Chandrangada Charitam, he refers to Mohiniyattam as Alpanmarkku Rasikkan Nalla Cheruppakkarude Mohiniyattam, which loosely translates to Mohiniyattam being performed to entertain the public or the petty-minded, silly people, in his words, Alpanmar. This gives us an important glimpse into how female dance was perceived at the time as an entertainment. It gives us an assumption that female dance was to entertain the dominant male audience. But we must also remember that Kunchan Nambiar was a satirical poet and the creator of a satirical performance called Thullal. Satire was his tool. He constantly teased the society, rulers, people, art forms, and social norms. So these references can also be read as his natural way of criticism on society or his view about these conventions. Some other verses of Kunchan Nambiar give us hints about rhythmic patterns and percussions used in dance, but there was no detailed description about the dance pattern. But these texts clearly tell us one thing: a dance tradition performed by female dancers existed during that period, and that was called Mohiniyattam. As we move into the late 19th century, literary references to Mohiniyattam become much harsher and more judgmental. One such example is from the novel Meenakshi, written by C. Chattu Nayar. In this novel, Mohiniyattam is described as an entertainment organized by wealthy upper-class families, where dances or Mohiniyattakkaris were performed in the evening, and some of the dancers were expected to accompany a patron, obviously a rich landlord, after the performance to spend a night with him. The narrative labels this system as shameful, portraying the dance not as a dignified art form, but as a practice meant to seduce people. Around the same period, a magazine article also shows a similar view, stating that Mohiniyattam was not a standard art form like Kathakali, Kutha or Thullal, and people were attracted to Mohiniyattam only for the Sringara, the erotic element, and the dancers were portrayed as disgraceful women. These writings reflect a time when dance, especially female dance, was deeply stigmatized. This stigma was closely linked to the rise of Victorian morality and colonial views on dance and dancing women, and new social modes developed from the colonial thoughts, which became dominant in India, and they reshaped the ideas of respectability and womanhood, and also shows the pitiful exploitation of women dancers by the patriarchal society. Even when Mahakavi Narayana Menon chose Mohiniyattam as a discipline at Kerala Kalamandalam, he faced severe criticism. There was a cartoon published in the magazine Vishwarupam, illustrated by M. Blaskaran, this could be a pen name, with a caption by the writer, the satirical writer of Malayalam, Sanjayan. The cartoon mocks Vallathol and his team as people enjoying a seductive, vulgar dance. The dancer is depicted in an exaggerated, immodest posture, while the patrons are shown as enjoying the vulgar art. All these references reveal the extent of humiliation Mohiniyattam faced during the early decades of the 20th century. The dancing female body itself became a site of anxiety and discomfort in a society, which resulted in losing many old performance pieces and the lineage of early Mohiniyattam. There are very limited references to these performance patterns and repertoire. Then starts the history of reshaping the dance. Let's see some of the glimpses in the next video.